Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
In the year 2045, Earth was a fractured planet, with beleaguered nations lingering under the weight of climate disaster and dwindling resources. Just as humanity's hope began to fade, the Celestia Federation arrived, a vastly powerful alien collective that abruptly shifted the balance of power in the galaxy. Their advanced technology and interstellar knowledge captivated some, instilling fear in many. Yet, it was not their ships nor their luminescent cities that shook the foundations of human society, it was the imposition of the mandatory Alien Brides program. A program touted as a means to foster peace and collaboration, but seen by most as a blatant act of alien domination. Lucas stood in his cramped apartment, the flickering news feed on his holoscreen announcing the latest updates on the program. His reflection stared back, a mix of determination and defiance plastered on his face. All humans must participate, the announcement proclaimed, each word echoing his growing despair. He was among the chosen, a bright, resourceful young man with ambitions beyond mere survival, now faced with an unimaginable fate, to be paired with an alien bride. It felt absurd, dehumanizing. Wouldn't he lose everything that defined him? In contrast to his turmoil, Victoria emerged as an alien embodiment of grace and intelligence. Her kind, purple-hued skin was a stark reminder of the differences between them, yet her piercing green eyes reflected an empathy that Lucas found disarming. As a representative of the Celestia Federation, she believed in the potential of cultural exchange, yet she carried the burden of her people's dwindling numbers and their urgent need for alliances. With each passing day, protests erupted across the globe. This bridal program was not just limiting, many saw it as a trap disguised in intricate diplomacy. Couples, families, and even friends were torn apart as the Alien Federation issued demands, stirring resentment and turmoil across human societies. Lucas felt the stirring of rebellion within him. Determined to think outside this imposed box, he resolved to find a way to remain free. Yet, in the back of his mind lingered the uncomfortable question, would it even matter, if civilization itself was collapsing around him? As he flicked off the holoscreen, Lucas stared out the window at the chaotic city below, hordes of protesters shouting to dismantle the program clashing with those who saw acceptance as a path to salvation. He didn't want to be a pawn in this alien game, yet the weight of obligation bore down heavily on him. His thoughts drifted to Victoria. Would she see him as a willing participant or a resentful captive? How could he confront her without revealing the depths of his frustration? Then again, he reminded himself, she was just as entrapped by her people's needs as he was by his. He stood resolute, making a silent vow. If he was to be a part of this program, he would confront every challenge head-on. Igniting a sense of purpose within him, he prepared himself for the uncertain road ahead. Days turned into a blur as the day of the selection event approached. Lucas was consumed by anxiety and determination. The entire world was fixated on the fate of individuals like him, randomly chosen humans who would be paired with aliens. Friends called, offering support, but their efforts fell flat. They couldn't understand the torrent of emotions he was navigating. The day arrived, a tense atmosphere hanging over the hybrid ceremony hall, part alien structure with sleek, curving architecture and part repurposed human space. As he entered, Lucas felt a knot form in his stomach. Holograms of ethereal beauties floated in the air, each representing a possible bride. He could see other young men and women equally apprehensive, their expressions shifting from hope to dread as they awaited their fate. The podium alight with vibrant alien symbols hummed, vibrating with energy as if it held the weight of galaxies within its form. As the ceremony began, an authoritative alien voice echoed through the hall, assuring everyone of peace and prosperity as a result of the program. World leaders stood alongside alien dignitaries, creating a visual representation of unity that felt disappointingly hollow. When Lucas's name was finally called, he felt as if the world had tilted on its axis. He approached the stage, heart pounding, his view locking onto a figure that would forever change his life. Standing across the room was Victoria, elegant, poised, yet there was an indecipherable sadness etched in her brow. As they were brought together for their first encounter, Lucas found himself grappling with mixed emotions, frustration, curiosity, and an odd flicker of attraction. His gaze swept over the alien features, the soft curves of her face illuminated in hues of violet. "I'm Victoria," she said, her voice clear and melodic, cutting through the tension like a warm breeze. "Lucas," he replied, the coldness of his tone betraying his inner turmoil. "I suppose the program wants us to get acquainted?" Victoria studied him, intrigued yet wary. "It is designed to be a partnership, a blend of our cultures," she responded, her demeanor warm yet formal. "I understand this may not feel like your choice, but it is an opportunity for growth, for both of us." Lucas felt an urge to challenge her, to unleash the torrent of resentment bubbling inside him, but her genuine eyes held him back. "Growth?" he echoed, skepticism creeping into his voice. "Isn't it more about control? You have all the power, and we have none." Caught off guard, Victoria frowned. The moment hung heavy, a battlefield of conflicting ideologies sparking between them. "No one has all the power. My people are desperate for alliances, our survival is at stake," she countered gently, but firmly. Lucas nodded, the weight of her words settling on him. Perhaps they were not so different after all, two individuals trapped by circumstances beyond their control. However, his sense of rebellion and autonomy burned brightly. As their conversation continued, Lucas found himself reluctantly pulled in. They discussed their cultures, sharing fragments of their identities and questioning the values each held dear. Victoria spoke passionately about her world, her hopes for a future where both species could coexist peacefully. To her, the bond was more than a strategic alliance, it was a chance for connection. "I'm not saying this program is perfect," she admitted, "but it has the potential to change hearts and minds, not just for our peoples, but for each other." A flicker of understanding ignited in Lucas. Perhaps he could leverage this unusual pairing as a means to preserve his voice and autonomy, turning the expected destiny into something he could shape. As they parted that day, Lucas left with a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. The road ahead was fraught with uncertainty, yet the spark of possibility began to glow brighter within him. Could he navigate the complexities of this partnership? Could he also discover who Victoria truly was beyond the program? As days turned to weeks, Lucas found himself drawn deeper into the intricacies of the mandatory Alien Brides program. They were required to attend sessions designed to facilitate understanding and trust, blending elements of both human and Celestian cultures. The program aimed to soften the harsh edges of the initial resentment that had built up between the two species. Lucas sat through the first of many lessons, his heart pounding. In a brightly lit classroom that resembled a fusion of a human lecture hall and alien wonder, illustrations of Celestian customs danced across screens. He couldn't ignore the subtle digs about their population crisis, which felt manipulative to him. Yet, something unusual transpired in each session. He began to recognize the nuance of their perspectives. Victoria led discussions, her voice a soothing balm over the simmering tensions. She emphasized shared values, articulating how their lives were more intertwined than anyone could have imagined. Lucas began to learn the beauty of her world, from the stunning landscapes of iridescent forests to the descriptions of their rituals, all presented with fervent emotion. Lucas took meticulous notes, wishing to collect every detail. But those sessions also bore witness to the best and worst of human reactions. Curiosity flickered alongside hostility, and challenges erupted when opinions clashed. To sustain peace, Lucas increasingly stepped in as a mediator, leveraging his intelligence to navigate heated debates. Their evolved working relationship slowly morphed into something more profound. Late-night discussions became their haven, intimate and candid. They shared stories of heartaches, dreams, and desires. Lucas learned of Victoria's dreams of bridging their worlds and her fleeting feelings of inadequacy as a representative of her civilization. One evening, they ventured into a training arena, designed for couples to interact with advanced alien technology, emphasizing cooperation between partners. Lucas stood in awe as virtual simulations materialized, bringing various challenges to life. "Let's tackle this together," Victoria suggested with a confident smile. He raised an eyebrow, unsure if the programs were designed to expose weaknesses or enhance bonds. Yet, they glided through each scenario, laughing at their missteps and celebrating their victories. For Lucas, each success brought a thrill that turned into an exhilarating release. He admired her agile mind and quick reflexes, captivated by both her elegance and intensity. Their chemistry grew palpable, yet an invisible wall remained between them, an echo of their differences haunted him. As they embraced their newfound camaraderie, doubts gnawed at Lucas. Could human love and alien affection be woven into something beautiful, or were they destined to falter under the weight of their societal expectations? In conversations with Victoria, the cultural contrast became vivid. She painted scenes of family rituals that celebrated unity, where the harmony of their voices blended in a chorus that echoed across mountains. Lucas shared his experiences of freedom, but also the isolation felt by his generation, one inextricably linked to a world suffering from the aftermath of its own mistakes. Their exchanges drove home profound lessons. Lucas learned of the Celestians' reverence for emotion, how love, acceptance, and vulnerability were vital threads woven into their history. In return, he conveyed the human pursuit of individualism, the stories of the past rich with triumph, sacrifice, and sorrow. Soon, he found himself questioning his ideals. Why should love be reserved for one species? Could it not transcend the boundaries of flesh and culture? Tensions began to escalate as their societal interactions heightened. News outlets fed the frenzy, capturing their evolving dynamic, Lucas and Victoria, the poster children for unity, yet, at the same time, magnets for friction. The polarization deepened across the planet, some heralded their relationship as a miraculous cross-cultural phenomenon, while others viewed it as a betrayal of humanity. Behind closed doors, Lucas confided in Victoria about his fears. What if this all collapses? What if we can't bridge our worlds? Victoria held his gaze with steely determination. Maybe you only think of it as a collapse because you've never witnessed what is possible. Let's show them. Let us build, rather than destroy. Her resolve intertwined with his, igniting a flicker of courage within him. Their growing bond, younger, fiercer, and undeniably tender, transcended the program's confines. Lucas knew they were standing at the precipice of change. For better or worse, they had chosen to confront the challenges ahead, together. The atmosphere in the world outside changed dramatically as public opinion oscillated with fervor. Lucas and Victoria became symbols of the program, hailed by some as heroes, while others brandished them as traitors. News feeds blasted their faces across screens, couples paraded as shining examples of harmony, yet lurking beneath was the animosity brewing in the hearts of many. Then came the day Lucas received an invitation to deliver a speech at a rally advocating for the program. It was a thrilling yet terrifying prospect. "They want me to speak, Victoria," he said one evening, pacing in his cramped apartment. "To publicly support the program, to become their face." Victoria sat nearby, absorbing the weight of his turmoil. "This is an opportunity, Lucas. You can inspire others just as you have for me. But only you can choose if it feels right." Lucas felt torn. The pressure from the media weighed heavily on him, blended with his emerging feelings for Victoria. He didn't want to be used as a puppet, but perhaps this could be an opening, a chance to carve their own identities within the expectations thrust upon them. "Let's prepare together," she suggested, her eyes alight with determination. "We won't let them dictate our narrative." In the days leading up to the rally, Lucas trained with Victoria tirelessly. They blended their visions, crafting a message that spoke of unity, mutual understanding, and the limitless potential of love, between species and within humanity itself. Late nights spent brainstorming turned into midnight walks, where the lines between friendship and something more blurred with each step they took together. But within those moments of connection, doubt clawed at Lucas's heart. What if life as a couple meant enduring endless public scrutiny? On the eve of the rally, he opened up to Victoria as they shared a rare quiet moment. "I don't want to lose myself in this," he murmured, hands trembling slightly. "What if we fail? What if they tear us apart?" Victoria's expression softened, glowing with empathy. "Love isn't devoid of risk, Lucas. We could lose each other, or we might just change how the world see one another." "Can we change the world?" Lucas whispered, almost to himself, as a flicker of fear ripped through his heart. "Together, we can," she affirmed, moving closer to him. Driven by instinct, she reached out, cupping his face in her delicate hands. It was a simple gesture, yet it sent ripples of warmth through him. Lucas leaned into her touch, drowning out the noise of a chaotic world as he stared deeply into her eyes. "Seems we're already changing," she murmured, and then leaned in, their lips brushing softly. The kiss ignited everything within him, questions dissipated, and for a moment, they existed solely in that space of intimacy, separated from the universe surrounding them. The rally loomed the next morning, an expansive crowd gathered under a sprawling banner touting solidarity. Lucas stepped onto the stage, the pulse of the audience thrumming beneath his feet. It was surreal, cheers echoed, yet discontent simmered beneath. As he began to speak, his words carried the weight of his convictions. He conveyed their story plainly, human fears, alien hopes, and how their unique partnership opened windows to understanding. Yet as the crowd responded, some with applause, others with rage, shouts erupted from the back, dissenters crying out against the program, demanding freedom from alien rule. The air thickened with tension, and Lucas felt as if the ground was shaking beneath him. Victoria, standing beside him, remained calm but alert. As the discord from the audience swelled, he caught sight of a familiar face in the crowd, his old friend, Sam, who'd been a staunch opponent of the program. "Traitor!" Sam shouted, shaking his fist. Lucas's heart sank. He realized how hard it would be to uphold the ideals they sought to represent when their lives, and their love, were scrutinized so ruthlessly. Suddenly, chaos erupted. The dissenters charged forward, an uneasy atmosphere morphing into hostility. Security personnel flanked the stage, but the crowd was unruly, emotions boiling over. The moment spiraled into confusion, jostling bodies surged towards the podium as anger radiated through the throng. "Lucas! Get back!" Victoria shouted, stepping into the space between him and the chaos. But he grabbed her hand. "No. We face this together," he insisted, eyes locked with hers. Lucas grabbed the microphone again, heart racing as he proclaimed, "We need to hear each other, not fight." But the crowd could not hear his plea through the din of chaos. A surge of fear jolted through him, but not for himself. He felt fear for Victoria, for their bond, and for the future they envisioned. It was no longer just a battle for personal freedom, but a fight for the right to love across divides. "Lucas!" Victoria cried, pulling him closer as tension heightened around them. In that moment, he saw not only his past fears but embraced a newfound courage. "We are more than our differences," he shouted, trying to grab the audience's turbulent attention, hoping to transform anger into understanding. The crowd began to quiet, drawn to the power of his words. He stepped forward, vulnerability spilling out as he shared their journey, the beauty in their partnership, and how their lives intertwined far deeper than politics. And with Victoria's calm presence beside him, they stood together as a symbol of what could be. The rally's energy shifted as compassion began to swirl through the discontent. Gradually, the tension in the air transformed into something softer, a willingness to listen, a spark of change. As the last echoes of his voice faded, Lucas exchanged a glance with Victoria, unaware of how this day would reverberate beyond them. The calm that followed the chaotic rally was palpable. As the crowd dispersed, Lucas felt a strange sense of relief wash over him, along with the lingering adrenaline of the confrontation. He turned to Victoria, who stood beside him, her expression a mixture of pride and concern. "We did it," he breathed, glancing out at the lingering throng of people. "We actually managed to change the tide, didn't we?" Victoria nodded slowly, catching her breath. "Yes, but it was just the first step. We need to keep pushing for understanding, for acceptance. This cannot be our last stand." Lucas's heart swelled. The fire in her eyes reignited his own determination. They were part of something more significant than themselves, a bridge between their worlds. In the days that followed, they dove headfirst into advocacy, attending rallies, participating in interviews, and working tirelessly to humanize their relationship to those who would listen. While some still grasped at fears, many others began to see the beauty of their union, a symbol of hope amidst a fragmented human experience. News of their speech rippled through both communities, spawning dialogues about what it truly meant to exist in an interconnected world. Gradually, more humans began to embrace the idea that love could run deeper than biological or cultural lines. Acceptance grew like a vine, creeping into the hearts of those who once stood resolute against change. But there were lingering shadows. Dissenters still argued against the program, insisting that humans should not cow to alien needs, and Lucas faced backlash, both online and in person. Friends turned their backs, protests continued, but he remained resilient, bolstered by Victoria's unwavering support. Victoria continued her duties as a representative of her people, often balancing her role between two worlds. They stood side by side, speaking out against hate and fostering dialogue and understanding. The unpleasant realities soon transformed into conversations about hope, survival, and love that transcended both alien and human realms. Months passed, and with each eloquent speech and shared story, Lucas and Victoria felt the weave of their cultures intertwining deeper. They adopted traditions from each other, celebrating both human holidays and alien ceremonies, including an unexpected surprise, a traditional Celestian festival of unity. Victoria invited Lucas to join her in the transformation of the Celestian ritual, a vivid tapestry of lights, dance, and song. Standing side by side, they encouraged others to embrace the idea of what it meant to love beyond boundaries. It faced skepticism, yet solidarity surged in the form of newfound friendships across both species. One night during the festival, under the illumination of vibrant colors, Lucas pulled Victoria aside, his heart racing with something other than the thrill of the celebration. "Victoria, we've created something beautiful. We've built bridges where fear wanted to pull us apart. I'm not just in this program anymore, I'm in this partnership, fully." Victoria's eyes sparkled with emotions, surprise, joy, and something deeper that warmed her demeanor. "You've always been a part of this, Lucas. You willingly stepped into the unknown, and now we've created a new path forward." "Together," he said, taking her hands, feeling the warmth of connection that extended beyond simple conversation. "We can face anything." As the festival carried on, laughter and music filled the air, a testament to what they had achieved. Lucas and Victoria danced, surrounded by figures of every kind, humans embracing Celestians, breaking barriers that had existed for too long. With every spin and twirl, he felt the past melt away, the fear, the uncertainty. Instead, he embraced possibility, a future where humanity could learn to love without borders, a world where differences would no longer dictate the heady dance of fate. They stood together that night under a starry sky, a microcosm of their struggle and triumph. The acceptance they had fought for echoed around them, various cultures blending seamlessly as dreams of their worlds intermingled. Hand in hand, they gazed into the vastness above, a testament to the unknown futures they would explore together. And at that moment, Lucas knew, love was not only a bridge. It was a journey. As the festival began to wind down, the joyous sounds of music and laughter echoed in Lucas's heart. Surrounded by friends and allies from both human and Celestian communities, he felt the strength of the changes they had ignited together. Each shared glance, every touch, it was apparent that barriers were crumbling, that their battleground had transformed into a fertile ground for relationships to flourish. "Are you ready for what comes next?" Victoria spoke softly, breaking through Lucas's reverie as she gazed up at him, her features illuminated by ethereal lights. "With you by my side, I feel ready for anything," he replied, the conviction in his voice reassuring not only her but himself as well. Their journey had turned turbulent emotions into a steady resolve. As they navigated their responsibilities, they laid the foundation for a new life that transcended the confines of a once-imposed program. They took the initiative to foster dialogues and provide materials for education about both cultures, reaching out to schools, organizations, and communities intent on understanding. The idea of love between species transformed from a stigma to a symbol of possibility, encouraging empathy and openness that rippled through both societies. Months transitioned into a year, and the landscape they had envisioned began to take form. Lucas stood before a vibrant wall nestled in the heart of a city, adorned with artworks created by children from both species. Murmurs of excitement filled the atmosphere as children, now friends despite their differences, bustled around them. "We need to preserve this," Lucas muttered to Victoria as they surveyed the artwork, each piece a testament to what could be if only given a chance. Victoria nodded enthusiastically. "We can extend this across our worlds, a union of art and education. We will show them that every being, every story, deserves love and acceptance." Hand in hand, they faced the task of nurturing the seeds of change they had planted. They embraced their roles as educators, ambassadors for their cultural exchange program that encouraged collaboration and understanding on deeper levels. In the ensuing months, Lucas and Victoria's story transcended mere headlines. They became living symbols of hope, each partnership blossoming into personal accounts of harmony. Communities that had once seemed fractured began to find clarity in their shared humanity. As they shared their journey at schools, the youth responded positively, eager to ask questions and challenge their preconceived notions, each interaction echoing what Lucas had once feared. The truth was clear: love could indeed flourish despite the most profound differences. One evening, under the stars that once felt distant, Lucas and Victoria found themselves standing atop a hill overlooking a city where lights twinkled, each a reminder of lives intertwined. Here, they felt peace, knowing they had initiated change both within and beyond. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" Lucas asked, glancing at Victoria. "Every day," she replied, eyes reflecting warmth. "And yet, every day is new. Our journey will always continue. There will be struggles, but we've built a bridge to navigate them together." As if responding to their resolve, the sky brightened, a celestial sign of possibilities awaiting them. No longer shackled by fear, they stood resilient, hand in hand, ready to embrace whatever challenges came their way. Months blurred into years, and as the world grew increasingly complex, Lucas and Victoria remained steadfast in their mission. Lit by the connections forged, they inspired another generation of couples, interstellar and human alike, to embrace their truths and secure their love. Together, they transcended boundaries, embodying a truth far greater than themselves: love does not recognize limits, it thrives among differences, dismantling the walls once erected by fear. And so it was, in a world that had begun to heal, Lucas and Victoria continued their journey, united not merely by duty but by an unbreakable bond, an epic love story that radiated into infinity. The stars above bore witness to their legacy, a tale of love and unity that, against all odds, had paved the way for a future ripe with hope.